And so what's the story of the first year, second year of the business?
Lots of learning. Again, made loads of mistakes.
What kind of mistakes are we talking?
Well, the first client didn't pay us.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Just bad person or dodgy? Were they not happy with the work?
Maybe they were a bit naive. Maybe we were a bit naive at the time. Kind of, they were like, got this investment lined up, blah, 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 and then the investment didn't come in.
Got it.
But at the same time, if we wouldn't have done that, then we wouldn't have started, maybe, or at least, I don't know, started as well as we did, because it kind of made it real. So before then, we were doing some stuff, but it was like much smaller projects.
Right.
And this was like our first big one, and that because of this, I needed somebody in the UK to help me, and that's when I met Pavel, one of my co-founders. So maybe I wouldn't have met Pavel, but that was a pretty painful few months.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
First big project and it just goes to shit.
Yeah, they just didn't pay.
And you'd done all the work for it, right?
Yeah, we did all the work for it. But I don't know. It was in hindsight, it was really stupid.
What was stupid? Were there things that you should have done beforehand?
I think you should just say no. It was just because we took on quite a lot of risk to do that, to deliver it all. Which we're in a position now as a company where we can almost, because of what we built up, we almost can take punts like that a bit more sometimes, but we certainly couldn't then.
Yeah.
But we managed to win a couple of other projects at the same time, and like I say, I guess everything happens for a reason, right? So
no, exactly.
Certainly learn from it.
What were some of the other mistakes? I'm really interested in them, especially in the early days.
Double down on my mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I think that's at the early days. I think that's them. The mistakes in the previous company, like I say, like focusing too much on brand, not talking to customers, not focusing on profit enough, focusing on revenue, and thinking that would be enough. Not having enough of a handle on just some of the basic finances. But yeah, I think when we started Founder and Lightning, obviously was called You Create. I think not getting paid in the first instance was definitely a bit of a mistake, but I think we managed to get through most things. We haven't made a huge amount of mistakes in Founder and Lightning so far.
Great. And how would you describe where Founder and Lightning is currently at, like in terms of the businesses that are in the portfolio, the businesses that you help, and so on?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've just got such an amazing bunch of portfolio companies that we've worked with, and I just feel like because of what we've learned over the last 8 years, we just know really exactly what goes into building a successful startup. So just feel really confident that, if somebody wants to build something, that we've got the process, we've got the expertise, and we've got the experience to do it. So it's just a really exciting position to be in.
Yeah.
And our sort of thesis and the kind of companies that we like to build is a little bit different to what's maybe out there on the market. So I just feel like we're a bit different as well. So it's just quite an exciting time for us at the moment.
What's the main difference that you look for in a founder and then in the business itself?
We are very much focused on working with non-tech founders. So a lot of, I don't know, investors, VCs or whatever, they potentially see that as a weakness, but we kind of double down on it. We see it as a strength. We think that non-tech founders, they kind of cut through the noise. They can spot a problem firsthand that needs solving. We with non-tech founders, we like to really work with people that are domain experts as well, so they know their industry inside out. So, we would, if somebody wanted to build a personal branding app, obviously you'd be like the perfect use case, non-tech, and your industry inside out. So we think that those types of founders have got a real edge just because they know their industry deeply. And then the type of companies we really like to build are B2B SaaS in like super niche spaces. So like the more niche, the better. So, we're not looking for like these super sexy industries where like billions and billions of pounds are going into them. We think there's this sort of untapped, I think, this sort of untapped market a bit, which is like, just there's not loads of people playing, and there's an opportunity there for founders to build really good businesses that might not become unicorns, well, they probably won't be, but there'll be nice, sustainable companies that will have life-changing exits for the founding teams and also for the investors as well.
Yeah. Is that a trend that you've noticed, that everyone is going crazy for, unicorn companies and huge VC raises?
Yeah, ever since I've got into this sort of 8-9 years ago, it's just always been about that. But then I was, thinking that, when you watch like films like Social Network, for example, it wouldn't be as interesting, would it? If it was for like a, $1 million turnover SaaS company.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I get why. And if you're an ambitious young founder, you don't wake up in the morning and go, I want to build a really small company that doesn't do, huge things. So I just think it's just ingrained in maybe founders and then investors that they want to just go as big as possible and just do everything like massive. But I've just seen firsthand that there's just so much untapped value in they're not small they don't have to be called small companies. It doesn't mean unambitious. £100 million exit is amazing for the economy, amazing for everybody. But that won't interest some VCs or even some founders, I guess. Do
you think this focus on the VC world and unicorns and so on and so forth is harmful at all to entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I think it's really harmful. I think it's really, really harmful. I think the pressure that founders are put under and founding teams for this like growth at any cost. I think some perfectly good businesses that would have done really well failed because they were just pushed too hard because they took too much money, which means they have to sell the business for a certain size for it to be viable.
Yeah.
If they just would have taken less money, the business could have grown slightly slower. I think it's really, really harmful. And I think one of the frustrations I've got with the industry is just how much money is going into certain, like the 10-minute grocery apps and stuff like that, like billions and billions of pounds. But I know certain founders that have got really good early stage companies that can't quite get the funding that they need. So there's this like gap that we have to make sure that we look after as a country. Otherwise, there's a lot of those really good opportunities that are going to go to waste.
Yeah, it makes me think of Fast, the company that by Dom Holland. I watched them for as long as they were around, really, just on social media, thinking, "Whoa, these guys have got it. They are doing so brilliantly."
You really got excited by it, didn't you?
Got so excited by it.
Yeah.
I thought the guy was wicked. I didn't read much about his backstory at the time.
Yeah.
I was just seeing what he was building, seeing all the brilliant marketers that they were bringing into the business. I thought it looked insane. And then obviously I saw quite recently and then read your post, the whole business just went under.
Yeah.
And I think it was within 2 years, 18 months. Insane.
Where did the money go?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I said at the time, I'm always don't want to criticize founders because I know how difficult it is. And I continue to make mistakes all the time. So I just wonder what pressure he was under and whether he felt that he needed to do what he had to do. I don't know. It just feels like something's a little bit broken with that. But then, you wouldn't maybe get as excited as you were looking at posts if someone was like, oh, I've just got to 500K ARR. Does that get the same buzz?
After 4 years.
After 4 years.
It's not sexy.
It's not sexy, but it's maybe got more chance of employing, the right people and paying the right tax and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think we just need a little bit of a shift in mentality for everyone to get as excited about those companies as we do about the unicorns.
How do you think we can do that?
I think it's happening, actually. Since there's some people talking about it, and even like some of the big outlets like Sifted and stuff are now starting to allocate, like Courier Magazine. It's actually stopped doing it recently, but it used to have like a whole section of like sub £1 million fundraisers.
Yeah.
So I think it is happening, and I think it's happening because founders have been burnt, VCs have been burnt on this kind of like 10-year loop over the last 10 years, and maybe it's not. But I guess you've just got there's been so much money available, it's had to go somewhere. And the challenge is it often doesn't make sense for this institutional money to make the smaller bets, like the smaller ticket sizes.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's changing as well. I think even you're seeing VCs trying to get in earlier and earlier now. So I think there's a shift. It's happening. It's just needs to be sped up, ideally.
Do you think that anyone can become an entrepreneur and start a business?
I
It's a big question. Some people
I don't know.
think really strongly.
I don't know
about
if I'm
it,
like
but it's-
qualified to answer. I wouldn't ever want to put somebody off. If somebody felt
Yeah.
they were, then who am I to say whether they are or not? Just the fact that they want to be, I think, shows that they are. I think that's the key. You've got to want to do it, because it's really hard. You've got to actually properly want to do it, like for a long time, day in, day out, not just think you want to do it. But there are clearly a number of traits that I've seen, because we've got, I think, 35, 36 founders in our portfolio. And obviously I've been in like the industry for quite a long time now. So I've seen it. And if you haven't got grit, determination, like gumption, you're not going to make it. And I don't think you can necessarily learn that. You've got to have like ridiculous positivity, but then also it can't be toxic positivity. You've got to acknowledge if things aren't going well and actually fix them, rather than stick your head in the sand. And also you've got to be a little bit humble. You've got to acknowledge that you make mistakes. You've got to be willing to learn from people. And those traits I've seen with our portfolio companies, they're the ones that have really worked. I don't know how much of that you can learn.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can be that stuff. I don't think you can be an entrepreneur without that stuff. So I don't know if I've answered your question or not.
Yeah, no, you have. It's difficult because there are so many things that you have to do. Like when you hear any entrepreneur talking about other people starting a business, it's always like you've got to be determined, you've got to work hard. You said you've got to be humble, you've got to be positive. Yeah. There's so much to that, but at the same time, once you get stuck in, you kind of don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
You just have to learn these things if you want to continue doing it.
Yeah.
Or maybe there is a choice. There's a choice every single morning when you wake up and decide, okay, I don't want to quit today.
Yeah.
I'm going to just get on with it and get stuck in.
Yeah, I agree.
And then all of those things come.
Not quitting is part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think people sometimes start it and then go, oh, I don't want to do, I don't know how many people become founders and then end up getting jobs later on. I don't know. I'd be interested to see that, but I can't imagine it's a lot.
I think there's a pride part to that as well.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
There's a certain ring and sexiness that comes with starting your own business, being your own boss, especially when you're kind of loud about it in public, which sometimes is a really good and important marketing strategy. To then go and work for somebody else, it almost feels like you screwed it. A friend of mine's done this recently, and he's been really good about it. He, posted it on LinkedIn. I think he wants to build his personal brand at this new company.
Yeah,
but they were working on their business for 3 years, 2 founders, marketing agency, and after a while he was like, look, there's only so long I can do this for, knowing that it's just not working.
Yeah,
and that right now my career just doesn't work for me. I can't do it.
Yeah. Does he want to be a founder again though?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's just wants to find the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I would imagine most people that become a founder, if you take the leap, you end up then carrying on and wanting to do it long term. But I don't know the stats around that.
Have you ever had times when you're like, oh, I wish I just had somebody that was my boss that I could just turn up to work, do the job, get paid, and leave?
Honestly, I think I'm probably unemployable.
Right.
So probably not. Because I just don't think I would. I don't know. The thought, I would just be like, if somebody was telling me that, I'd just be a bit like, oh no, you shouldn't do it like that. But yeah, I mean, having like a salary and stuff sounds great sometimes. Definitely.
When things are really bad, it can be
things are really hard.
A nice
really
thought
tough
in the back of your mind, like, I can just go work somewhere.
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, it would be really tough for somebody to do that. Somebody spent years building up a business into something really tangible. And
just don't think I'd be very good.
Yeah.
I just don't think I would do a very good job.